Welcome to Just Curious Media. This is That's a Crime. I'm Jason Connell.
And I'm Sal Rodriguez.
All right, Sal, we are back with another crime.
And I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I'm glad there's no casualties in this.
Yes, this is a tough
Thankfully.
one, or at least could have been much tougher, and maybe so tough we wouldn't have covered it. But today we are breaking down the true crime story of the mom attempts to hire fake hitman to kill her toddler son in 2023.
Yeah, but she didn't know the hitman was fake. She thought it was a
No,
real hitman.
no, attempts. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. So I thought, what is going on here with a mother, a young mother trying to kill her son, and then hiring a hitman, fake hitman? So a lot to unpack here, a lot to talk about, but it definitely caught my eye. I'm assuming you hadn't heard of this until I brought it to your attention. It's my assumption.
No, I'd never heard of Rent a Hitman. I'm reminded of there used to be an auto rental service called Rent-A-Wreck. I don't think they're around anymore
I
because
just
nobody wants
meant
to
this
rent
crime.
wrecks.
You're jumping ahead. I just meant, had you heard about this crime?
Oh no, not at all. No, I
Oh,
hadn't
okay,
heard of this.
okay,
You know,
okay.
Jason,
Yeah,
you pay more attention to news than I do because you know why? There's a lot of horrible things out there. There's a lot of
yeah,
horrible things. I'm gonna get depressed reading about them. Gonna get
yeah.
sad, feel powerless. Turn to whiskey.
I know. Turn to whiskey. There he goes. There he goes. Well, we are going to break this crime down. And there's a lot to talk about because, yes, it could have been a lot worse. It's an attempt, but it doesn't make it not illegal. It is a crime. There was real intent there. And thank goodness it was snuffed out and taken care of before it went too far. But we'll get into the mother's state of mind and where you can hire a fake hitman that can get you arrested. So a lot of things to discover. That was a learning curve for me. We'll go to the website as you kind of gave away there. A little spoiler alert. Spoiler alert ahead of times. You were jumping right in. But anyway, let's go into the crime. In July of 2023, I don't have a date. It was more vague, but 18-year-old mother Jazmin Paez of Miami, Florida, was arrested for a disturbing and horrifying crime. Paez attempted to hire a hitman through the parody service rentahitman.com with the intention of having the assassin murder her own 3-year-old son. Now, Sal, that's a head shaker, head scratcher. Like, are you kidding me? Also, a very young mother, no excuses here, but 18-year-old, not fully developed mind, emotions, has a 3-year-old. Jason Connell, had an 18-year-old mother,
Oh
but
really?
she had this son at 15. But yeah, I had a very young mother.
Wow.
And so I dealt with growing up with my dad was 20, very young parents, not
Yes.
understanding it, just think it's kind of cool. And as I got older, I kept thinking, what were they thinking?
Mm,
Now I was the oldest, but like, what in the heck? However, has nothing to do with the story other than the fact that I had a young mother.
yeah.
And here is Jazmin Paez, who no longer wanted to be a mother, we suspect. I don't know if there's other kids. All we have is this crime. But you jumped in earlier and mentioned rentahitman.com, and I just did as well. So I'd never been there. I went there. And
Oh.
Sal, I was kind of impressed with the website because you went there as we were prepping for this
Wow.
episode.
Yeah.
And what did you say? Satire, it's lost on the internet. And so
Well,
here
no.
we are,
What?
front and
Well,
center.
Jason, the first thing I said is we shouldn't be typing this into our browser.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
shouldn't be.
Yes.
You should not be. Trust
We've
me.
just been flagged.
Police look. Police, FBI, Interpol. They're
Yeah.
checking computers. They're checking browsers. They're checking search history. So everybody
Yeah.
be careful out there. But yeah, go to rentahitman.com
Or don't.
and or don't go there. Just take our word for it.
Yeah.
To me, because I grew up on the web. I grew up on the web. I grew up on the Onion on the web.
Yep.
And when I see satire like this, I know it's satire.
Yes.
It's the satire is not
great.
lost on me, but for plenty of people out there, yeah, they don't have the satire antenna.
Yasmin didn't get it. She said, this is a very clean, and it is very
Yeah,
clean, well laid out website,
yeah,
easy to
yeah.
navigate. And
User
then you have
friendly.
user friendly. You have Rent a Hitman merch. They have merch, support, service request, contact, and careers because it's a real thing now. So I had to go to merch.
Yeah,
I just had to. You got coffee mugs, Rent a Hitman. You have
nice.
tumblers. You have t-shirts and bags and desk mats and all these things. And it doesn't just say it. There's some clever artistic take on things. So I was impressed. And I'm actually glad this website exists to catch these types of people trying, Sal, to commit crimes.
Well, this
Thoughts?
one is extra horrible because it's not just
Oh,
like you want to
terrible.
have your ex, your ex. You don't just want to have your ex killed, which is bad enough, but you
Executed.
want an innocent child killed. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm reminded of The Omen because why would a person want a child, their own child
Mm.
killed? Like we know
Damn.
nothing about why. Like was she just tired of being a mother, couldn't handle it, or did she think like her own child was malevolent or evil or something? Why would somebody try to do this?
I don't think we can justify it that way. I think that she's deranged.
Well, no, I'm not justifying it.
Oh, okay,
I'm saying
okay.
what will be her defense
We don't
when she
know.
finally has her day in
Yeah.
court? You know, is she going to
We'll
say,
have to
"Your Honor,
follow up. Yeah.
I thought my toddler was evil,
Yeah.
or I was just tired of being a mother and wanted to be"? Because you know what? If you say I thought my toddler was evil, all of a sudden it's an insanity plea, and that changes things.
I don't want to pass judgment, but you may want to look at the mugshot.
Oh no.
Picture speaks. Sorry, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Look at the mugshot, and it may like. But anyway, let's dive in.
Oh no.
What
Yeah,
are you
she
looking?
may have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shocking plot came to light when investigators posing as the for hire killer engaged in conversations with Paez to flesh out the demented plan. During their communication, Paez reportedly agreed to pay $3,000 for the murder. So, Sal, obviously, this is a sick person we're dealing with. To be engaged in this type of thing, if you really don't want your child, there are services. There are others. There's adopt. There's a lot of things that you could take those paths. Something's wrong with Paez to even be engaging in such communications.
Yeah, there used to be something that people talked about a few years ago, but people don't talk about anymore, and that's something called a safe haven. There are these safe haven places where a person can literally surrender a child. In fact, the sign still remains on the
Yeah,
visitor
it's interesting.
center of
Yeah.
The Griffith Park, where I go exercise. I go exercise at Griffith Park. There's a sign there on the visitor center, the emblem of the safe haven. And that
Wow.
means fire departments, I think certain hospitals, certain community centers. You can literally
Wow.
leave a child. And
Wow.
the idea is leave your child here with a stranger at this community center or this fire
Yeah.
department instead of doing something horrible.
That's
That was the
amazing.
idea.
I'm very familiar with Griffith Park. Went there for hikes, played sports there, organized, non-organized, hung out with friends, everything. But I never knew that. That's really fascinating.
Yeah,
It
look for
is
that
kind of
safe haven sign.
it takes a lot of real estate up in Los Angeles, and so there's probably a lot of outlets, and that's a wonderful thing that they have. I had no idea. So yes, there you go. There are things like that one can do. A person of sound mind, not this Paez, Yasmin. Now, fortunately, rentahitman.com founder, Bob Inez, noticed the suspicious and specific request and decided to tip off authorities. Now, I've actually seen Bob doing a quick interview before we came on, trying to get his name correct. But it was interesting what I learned in those couple minutes that it was this little website he got for hardly anything. He was in school, and it became what it is. It's more like To Catch a Predator. It's funny, it's satire, but it is working in this way. This isn't a one-off, and we'll talk about that at the end, because there have been other people who've stumbled in this trap,
Yeah, definitely a trap.
which is crazy.
Uh, I mean, I always use the term "you can't con a con," so something like this would not fool me. But yeah, plenty of
No.
people. Like I have a friend. I have a good friend who fell for the Nigerian prince scam, where
My
I'm going to send you
gosh.
$20,000 and then you send me back
Yes.
10 or whatever.
What
He
happened?
really fell for that. He did. He lost, I think, like 10 grand. I think he like wired 10
That's
grand to some anonymous place. So
unbelievable. Well,
yeah,
Sal,
I was
I
not raised that way. I was raised to be suspicious of everything.
suspicious of everybody. Well, I was
Yeah.
just doing a service request on rentahitman.com. I was trying to off a
Oh,
co-host and just and I think I'm busted. I think
you can have that done for $500. You wouldn't need to pay 3,000. 500.
$5. Get out of here. Oh, I'm a joke.
Fiverr will do it.
Fiverr.com, much cheaper. That's good. Well, here's what happened. So Bob's radar goes off. Not the first time he's had someone come in to rentahitman.com and engage in this type of behavior. So he initiates with the authorities, gives them a tip. The police do not take him serious initially,
Oh my
to
gosh.
Inez's request. So they went so far against his request that they were threatening to send him a cease and desist letter for his persistence in contacting them. Which
The
I was
police are literally
thinking,
like, stop calling
hey,
us.
would you stop? This is not a thing. However, to learn how many people have gotten caught in this trap, I'm kind of shocked that they're not like police supported. Like, oh, hey, it's rentahitman.com and they've got someone else in the web. But whatever. In this instance, there was some pushback. But authorities finally started to review the evidence and traced Paez's IP address to her home and confirmed with the child's grandmother that the target was indeed Paez's son. Additionally, court documents revealed that Paez had submitted pictures of her son and the exact location where the crime was supposed to take place. Not good, Sal. So this wasn't just like an inquiry. This was thought out, followed
Yeah.
through. I don't know if a payment was made. I'm assuming no, but here's my son. He's going to be here at the schoolyard or leaving school. Like, are you kidding me? And what was the grandmother's response? She probably threw her under the bus immediately. Like, my daughter is deranged. Something's wrong. I got to protect my grandkid. Thank goodness she's around. But this is just like, what? Insane.
Yeah, because you know what happens here is she ends up losing her kid
Yeah.
and now going to prison. Before, she just could have surrendered her child somewhere, claimed to be an
Yeah.
unfit parent, and walked away and probably not gone to prison. So if her goal was to get rid of her child, either way she would have gotten it done. But this way, she winds up in prison. What was this woman thinking?
Not with her child. So it's a win. No, terrible. Terrible. So Jazmin Paez was then arrested, thank goodness, and charged with first-degree solicitation of murder and third-degree use of a communications device for unlawful purposes.
That's a new
I hadn't
crime.
heard that. Yeah, I hadn't
No,
heard that. I was going to ask
that's
you.
a new crime. Yeah. So I think we're
Yeah.
at a point now where, like, interesting. We're like, if I commit a crime, that's one thing. But if I'm maybe on my cell phone or using my cell phone to help me, that's another crime.
Communications device for unlawful
Wow.
purposes. Yeah.
Interesting.
I am
Okay, well,
curious
be
to
careful.
see how long, assuming she's found guilty, how long of a sentence this would be. It's not, obviously it didn't go further, but I would like to follow up with this, put a Google alert and see if and when it's reported, just to know what she's looking at.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that we got to know what the plea is going to be, and the plea will be based
That's what I
on
mean. Yeah.
why. Like, why does she want to have her child killed? Because, and that's going to be the big, crossroads as far as, is she going to be like just a woman who was tired of being a mother, or she really has incredible mental health issues, maybe schizophrenia, that sort of thing, and she's thinking, her child is evil or something like that. So I think that the idea is if you are caught red-handed committing something like this, attempted murder, is to go the insanity route, right? Isn't that what the attorneys advise, is to go insanity?
Probably, exactly. You mention that all the time. And again, not to pass judgment, but looking at that mugshot says a lot. Like
You can
something's
tell
just
she has
not right
problems. You
there.
can tell there
Has
are
problems.
problems there.
Kind of beat up even. I was like, what's going on here? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what comes of it. But again, we'll keep our eyes and ears open. Now, there is a statement from Rent a Hitman, the website, and I'd love you to read it, to share. It gets into some things we've talked about. And yeah, it's a great website for this purpose.
The service request form and careers form on the Rent a Hitman website have been repeatedly used to catch people attempting to hire hitmen for illegal purposes. For instance, a Tennessee Air National Guardsman was arrested after trying to hire a hitman as a prank, and a Michigan woman admitted to hiring a hitman through the site to kill her ex-husband. Since 2018, at least 120 people in New York alone have used Rent a Hitman for similar intentions. Despite the website's warnings, including false testimonials and humorous ads, desperate individuals continue to send solicitations. As a result, high-profile arrests are made when the information is shared with the public. Let me say that last thing again. As a result, high-profile arrests are made when the information is shared with the police.
There you go. Again, that's why I was a little shocked that there was pushback from the police if Bob had just announced himself.
I can't believe these police.
Like, hey, would you stop telling us how to do our job? Maybe it was a different, jurisdiction. That could have been it. Obviously, they're out there doing good work. That's probably a big part of it. Like, hey, don't tell us our job. But it's working. They're catching people. 120 people alone in New York in 2018. Like, what?
This is
That's
terrible
just
because
attempting.
This brings to mind, similarly in the case of serial killers, where like 120 people. Okay, so those 120 people, you wouldn't know. You may not know. They may be your coworker. They may be a family member. I'm assuming those are like quote unquote regular people.
You could have been on that list, Sal.
You know what? I don't know who I would want dead that badly.
No, you could have been on the hit list.
Oh, how about that? Someone wants me dead. Yeah, it can happen. Yeah. That to me, when it comes to crime and when it comes to brutal, violent, wicked crimes, that thought of, could it be somebody I know? Because every time they catch a serial killer, they talk to their neighbors, they talk to their friends, they talk to their family, right? Yeah. Oh, I never would have known. He's so quiet, such a nice guy. You'd never know, right? So yeah, things like this is like, geez, 120 people trying to get a hitman to kill somebody, presumably close to them. Terrible.
But this one in particular, what's a 3-year-old toddler done? Like, I mean, the best thing that happened was he was separated from his mother. And hopefully his grandmother is a safe place, a safe harbor, as you said earlier. And if not, they will find out. Authorities now will find out if this is a good thing for him or take the child elsewhere. So that's the best thing to come of this. Thank goodness. And we've learned about rentahitman.com, and we might get some merch. They may be good sponsors for That's a Crime. So
I think it would be good to develop a relationship with them, because obviously if this site is currently doing what it's doing, it's like it's reached beyond satire at this point, catching criminals. Well, I would like to have a relationship with them, because guess what? We're going to be seeing more news stories like this
probably
as they continue doing what they do.
Probably. And that means, Sal, our browser history is going to have a lot of rentahitman.com in it. We might get in trouble.
There's a trope going around about people's last words. Like, what were these last words? Like, clear my browser history. Like, those are the last things people are muttering.
Really? That's funny. Deathbeds. Oh my gosh. That's pretty good. Well,
I'm glad this 3-year-old boy, this little 3-year-old innocent boy, I'm glad he's okay. I hope he can have sanctuary. I hope maybe his grandmother's going to take care of him. And I hope he can go on to lead a normal life. Because guess what? You know who else his mother tried to have them killed?
Not yours, right?
No, Tony Soprano. Remember?
Oh, right. Yeah, yes.
Remember right. Tony Soprano's mother?
No offense to your mother there, Sal. Sorry. I didn't know if that was... sorry, no offense. Yes, of course. The Sopranos reference. Yes, she did. Yeah.
So, I'm glad this little boy is safe and sound, and wish him well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that covers the true crime story of the mom attempts to hire fake hitman to kill her toddler son in 2023. So, Sal, we will be back with more crimes, some lighter, some darker, and you never know. It's a mixed bag here, but thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it is full of surprises with That's a Crime.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So thank you so much for listening, and please be sure to subscribe to the That's a Crime podcast and the That's a Crime YouTube live channel. You can also really help us by giving the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast.
And for all you listeners that enjoy sharing your thoughts, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, send us a direct message, or post a comment on any That's a Crime social media platform.
We also highly recommend checking out our other podcast and visiting justcuriousmedia.com.